Yeah. Good morning, and welcome to a little show about something which I call micro-living. And micro-living is basically a kind of new phenomenon which I'm going to introduce to you. It's actually a kind of world premiere. I am what you call a sustainable vision designer or something like that. I'm not really sure what to call myself, but I've worked for the last 25 years with sustainability design and architecture and been trying to convince people how to design different ways. And I right now I bought this place down in France. It's a quite beautiful place. And I call it micro-macro-monde, which means basically a small, big world. I'm calling it a center for experimental micro-living. So what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to tell you about micro-living and what it's all about. But first, I want to introduce to you a couple of things that I find interesting. Namely, the fact that a lot of people are in fear today. Now, this guy here, Gore, some of you probably know him. He's one of the biggest investors in Silicon Valley. And his daughter got up at a dinner party recently and said, "Dad, it's you who are at the fault of all the problems that I have and that I'm going to live with." And she is probably in many ways right. So he's now investing $1.5 billion or something like that into green tech stuff. And he's hoping, and actually the TED presentation, you should see it, it's really interesting. He walked out crying from his presentation. And it's extremely interesting because we are in a time where people like Richard Branson is also starting to cry live on CNN, basically, because he's seeing that we are in deep shit. But when having said that, and if this technology works, turn fear into positive opportunities. There's nothing else to do. When I started talking about these things 25 years ago, we had the time to start doing things, but we don't have the time anymore. We really have to get going. So the only thing we can do is really start to dream and create new visions. And that's kind of what this is all about. But first, I want to take you just into one of the challenges, because obviously there are loads of challenges that we need to deal with. And one of the challenges is what I call, well, what you all know, it's called Earth. Technology is not working. This is Earth from France, from my little place. And I want Jonas to just hand it out. Basically, this is dirt. Now, you might not know, and you might not want to know where this comes from, but it comes from here. This is my compost bin that you're seeing. Smell it. Just touch it, smell it. Stick your fingers into it. That's the whole point, because probably a lot of you have not touched real earth for a long time. Am I right? Yeah? So basically just try and sense it, because this is really what it's all about. This is where everything comes from, and this is where everything goes. There is nothing on this planet that doesn't transform into earth one way or another into dirt. Even probably the globe or the planet, and probably even the universe. So everything is in constant transformation all the time, and basically we are one big giant garbage bin that just transforms constantly. But what is really, really, really interesting right now, and I don't know if you know this, basically 83 billion ton of topsoil or earth, what you are seeing right there in that bag, is being lost every year. We're basically throwing away the basis for our life. We're not just talking about global warming, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're talking about such fundamental things as basically the earth disappearing. Now, right now, we've got available approximately, as you can see here, half an acre of farmland per person. In 2050, we'll have a third of that. But this is actually not including the disappearance of topsoil. So therefore, we need to discuss this, because less farmland means less food. Normally, I would have shown you some of the new technology things here, where we can do things with hydroponics and all sorts of other things, but I don't have the time for that. Another aspect of, let's say that we're basically losing Earth, we're losing land. Well, we're also becoming more human beings, and that means that we're also losing land. And we're also losing land to something which you all know, which basically this is the 60-meter flooding, which is not unlikely to happen within the next 40 to 50 to 60 years. And most of you in this space here, apart from me, will probably actually live to experience serious flooding. And as you can see here, Denmark and this whole region here will be flooded. And obviously, more flooding means less land. So what are we doing? Well, in Mauritius, no, not Mauritius, what are they called? One of the some small islands down in the Indian Ocean have actually already designed or had international architectural competitions on designing skyscrapers, floating skyscrapers, in order to facilitate their inhabitants. Some people can do that, but what I'm saying here is there are solutions to any challenge. It's a matter of us wanting to do it. So basically, micro-living, let's get back to that. The little thing about earth and land is obvious because micro-living is about giving us all 20 square meters of roof to everybody. If we continue to expand the consumption of space that we are doing these days, we will not at all be able to facilitate the billions of people that will be on this planet. Therefore, we need to consider new, very smart ways of living, and this is basically what I'm trying to advocate here. So one of the reasons, or one of the things that's going to happen by using less square meters is less land is used, less energy is used, and less matter as such is used. On the more sort of immaterial front, you can say that you get more time, you get more freedom, and you get more money if you start to live on a smaller space. Basically, making your footprint in general smaller. Now, you could say that micro-living is about developing new architecture, new design. It's about starting to live on top of each other in micro ways, and I'll show you that later. It's about designing entirely new structures to live in, transportation systems as well. It's also about thinking in new social dimensions, because we need to start to, probably 60% of you in here are divorced, or you're not married, or you don't have kids yet, or whatever. We are starting to live, you're also gays, and blah, blah, blah. We're also starting to live in different ways. So our social dimensions could become completely different if we actually dared looking at the way we are living today, our physical structures. Imagine that you had a little house that is just 20 square meters that you actually could move around, and that you could sort of, you know, go to this place, go to that place, and attach it to other small communities around the planet. This is all part of micro-living. Micro-living is also a new economy. We build together in co-ops, and we find new and different ways of basically making it possible, making it economically possible. One very important aspect, which relates to the earlier talk online, is the microfinance aspect. Basically, a very basic philosophy in this is that with the square meters that you're then not using, because you're living on 20 square meters, you are then actually giving the possibility of others to get a finance in, for example, Africa or other places, so that they can build square meters, and they can then become role models for the people down there. So basically, it's yeah, well, I'll show you some examples of micro-living houses. Normally, these presentations takes hours, so in 15 minutes is obviously limited what I can show you. It's not a new phenomenon, by the way. There are loads of Americans who are doing this already. This is called micro-tower living. This is Villa Graficello. It's not Gracicello, because Gracicello is a skyscraper, but Graficello is something you write in the sky. It's kind of Italian. And this is a 10 square meter footprint, but which stacked on top of each other actually gives you a 40 square meter tall tower. It's all about minimizing the impact on the actual planet, because we need space for the chimpanzees, for the bees, for the this and for the that. So another micro-terrace living house is called Villa La Terrace Compostina. And this is basically a unit where you compost, you see it up there, you flush all your water up that you've been using, and it goes into those the shelving system where all the water is being cleaned, and you grow vegetables, etc., etc., etc. So this is just to show you. I want to show you this specific house because this is a house that I've just been part of building. And basically, this is a doctor, and this is an engineer from France who, together with 20 other people, have been building, me included, have been building this micro-living house together for somebody else in 10 days. Price, 2,000 euros. Damn interesting, isn't it? This is a house that you can actually live in. It's not totally ready yet. What you see here is well, just the back of the house. And it's made from straw bales and from mud, basically also what you are seeing in the bags there. And then there is obviously a new technology included in this in various ways. So this is my little micro house which I'm building at Microfinance. I'm building 10 of these houses at my place in France, basically in order for you guys and for others to come and experience what it can be to live on 20 square meters, and at the same time reduce your consumption of food, of all sorts of other things, and live in what we could call a micro life as such. So this is a future microhouse design made by components, so you could imagine that this could obviously also become some quite interesting business possibilities. And I'm starting myself in France a new business where we are looking into developing components and developing these houses. So when we sell a house, we at the same time give a microfinance possibility for somebody else somewhere else in the world. And I'm working together, or I'm starting working together with people in Mexico, India, and hopefully South Africa in order to do this. So obviously there is energy involved, and now have you all smelled the bag? Yeah? Good. Half of that was my shit. So now you know what human shit is all about when it is being dried. It is completely insane that we are throwing away all our shit. We are using 10% of all our resources in this part of the world to rinse our shit. It's completely insane, and yet the water is not clean when it comes out here in Malmö and over in Copenhagen. So Öresund is still completely a dump. Do it yourself. That's what it's all about. In my place in France, we're only using compost toilets. Well, not exactly yet, but we will be. And compost toilets doesn't smell, it's fantastic, and you can utilize the shit, as you've just seen there. So make energy plus earth, because this is the other interesting thing. Actually, if all human beings started shitting into a compost toilet and started using the biogas that you can actually extract from it, plus composting the leftovers, maybe we could solve some basic problems. We could even build houses from the shit. So yeah, so this is what I call a micro-living bath exercise energy generator unit. You jump on the bicycle there and you generate energy for the butt rinser, well, the butt dryer, because in tomorrow's world, I mean, obviously, is there somebody here who doesn't use toilet paper? You all use toilet paper, okay. I normally show a slide where you see the consequence of a butt not using toilet paper and one using toilet paper. The one which is not using toilet paper, which is using water, is clean. The other one is not. And if we put all your butts up right now, you'd see that you would not be clean. So, well, obviously, this is exaggerating, but it's nevertheless a problem that we are using the amounts of toilet paper and all the other things. It's another little bit of information to you, because toilet paper, if the whole world starts to use toilet paper, would cause enormous problems in terms of the trees that we need to use for the toilet paper production. So this unit here is basically a concept, sustainable vision design concept, where you have an exercise machine, you have a squatting toilet inside. It's a combination of a toilet and a shower cabin. So you go in there, you sit, you do your thing, you separate the things. The urine goes into your new reed bed system where you grow your plant that you eat. And after a while, you can actually put the compost there as well, and you develop gas as well. Now, micro-living houses is not something you're just going to place around sort of, here and there. It's actually going to be put into structures. So micro-living structures is, from my point of view, a very important thing. I call the micro-living structure WorldBe. WorldBe is basically vertical living. It's basically putting land on top of each other. It's not a regular skyscraper. It's basically taking land, creating artificial land, and putting it on stilts, and making these phenomenal new cities, or living structures, as I prefer to call them, where you don't have road access, you fly with airships, which we will hear about later today. You sail by wind, you go by whatever, you walk, because you don't really need to move around, because we've got all this fantastic technology. Later today, we're going to hear about the machine that reproduces itself. So why would we bother about using all our clean air, for example, for all this transportation? We can do magnificent things, and we can create fantastic structures, and it can look absolutely phenomenal. This is on the 20th floor. Basically, this structure has a spiral that goes all the way down. So you can either walk, or you can be an elephant, or you can do whatever. But nature can actually get into the compound. The idea is that we need to create as much wild nature again as possible, even in our living compounds. So basically here you see, again, 20th, 30th floor, whatever, but green, green, green everywhere, because green is not just to look at, and we cannot make it in plastic, because it doesn't work if it's made in plastic. So basically, this is there, nature is there, and nature needs to be completely integrated into our lives again, because it makes clean air, it cleans our water, it grows our vegetables, and, believe it or not, it grows every single substance in the future for every single product that we're going to have, because we're not going to have any more oil. Is that news to you? No, of course it's not. But maybe you forget that this Earth, and the Earth that you've just seen, that's just been going around, is basically holy. It is so important for the future of us that we really have to think about it in different ways. So this is the land at my place right now. This is the land in 2033, I hope. It's a very sketchy thing here, because I haven't dared going out to talk publicly about this. But basically, I am proposing to build a 30, 40-story high structure on my land in France, on 8 hectares of land. And we'll see where it goes. It's 1.5 hours south of Paris, and maybe, could be. So I'm expecting in 2033 that this structure will be built there. And it will all consist of small units, 20 square meters per person, where you live and thrive. And obviously you have communal facilities, spas and bathhouses and all sorts of other things, where you really can enjoy life. Because you don't need to run around. I mean, who would want a 160 square meter big apartment? Just the cleaning of a 160 square meter big apartment. So less matter, live better. And understand basically the laws of recycling or the laws of transformation. What you see there is an experiment with recycling plastic into new things. So we need to develop micro-living role models, and this is kind of what I'm proposing to you guys also. Come with me on a journey into something which could be a new phenomenon. And, or basically, we could also say we need to radically redesign modern human lifestyle into something which is far more sufficient, far more effective, and far more interesting, and maybe at the end of the day also more sexy. So micro-living design is about designing the sustainable experiences in life we don't know we need. Because this is actually, you have to remember that every single thing that we do in today's world needs to be changed. There is nothing as we see it today that's not going to be transformed into something else one way or another. All the products that we have around us basically needs to be redesigned, and everything needs to be redeveloped. Am I running out of time? Okay, I haven't seen the sign. So take the road to hedonistic responsibility, because at the end of the day, that is maybe my most important message to you guys. Stop being in fear. Start looking at it from an optimistic point of view, because we cannot solve the problems overnight, but we can come up with new ideas and new solutions. And with the brain capacity that just is in this room and out there on the internet and out there in the world, if all the creatives of the world really started working together, we could create fantastic things. But we have to, and I would stand on my head right now, but I'm not going to do it because I've got all sorts of technology here, just to show you that we actually have to stand on our heads and do things completely upside down and try and think in new ways. So the show must go on, the show will go on, otherwise we're going to be wiped out. It's basically, just remember, it's only us who are going to be wiped out. It's not the planet, it's not nature, it's not the animals really. Well, we've wiped out a lot of them. But at the end of the day, it's us. So we can do it, and we can make things, and I hope that this has inspired you to start thinking in a little bit in different ways. I'm planning on a book, I'm planning on all sorts of other things, and if you come to France, please feel free to come and have a look at Micro Macro Monde. Thank you.